5 fouls, you got to bring it back sooner or later. He's smart enough. He's played with 5 fouls before. But I'm going to tell you, on the defensive end, Sacramento is going to have to learn what to do on pick and rolls. You know, Tony Parker as well as Monty just getting in the paint.
Wells looking up at the clock, seeing 4 on the shot clock. Turnaround, tough shot, but Wells is there. 26 for Wells. He is at 12 of 17 from the field, adding 11 rebounds, and he has been a savior tonight for the Kings.
You're going to get a steady dose of pick and roll from here on out from San Antonio.
3-point lead for Sacramento, 9 on the clock. Getting close to 4 minutes remaining, and the basket will count. Tony Parker gets hit as he drives, gets the hoop, and a chance for the 3-point play.
Well, you know, it's very admirable that Kevin Martin is trying to guard Tony Parker, one of the most exciting point guards in the league, but he is not fast enough to stay with him, and he's not low enough to the ground. You see the quick first step by Tony Parker. Great balance, way to use the glass.
Is anyone other than Steve Nash?
Well, Jason's kicked pretty fast. Bonzi Wells comes up with looks like a twisted ankle. But Sacramento's going to have to solve guarding Tony Parker.
Bibby. And it's thrown away, turnover. So a costly turnover after a big 3-point play by Tony Parker. And now the Spurs can take the lead, trailing 99-98. And Duncan going up, and he's fouled. So Tim Duncan will go to the line with an
that you could, you know, put your hat on that they're not great at. It's the free throw line.
18 of 21 tonight. That's good for 86%. But there are times, and it's usually down the stretch, when the Spurs do make their free throws, even though, as you mentioned, near the bottom of the league, or at the bottom of the league. They're 28th, actually, in free throw percentage. 1 out of 2 for Duncan, and we're all even, 99.
Well, where does Sacramento go here? Bonzi Wells.
To the Artest, and as expected, the Spurs dominating bench scoring. So here is Abdur-Rahim against Duncan, trying to get him to foul out and hitting the short jumper. So Rahim doing the right thing.
Well, you know, he's continuing to attack Tim because Tim can be overly aggressive. You got 5 fouls. You don't want to pick it through 6. And Sharif doing a good job of making the body contact and keeping his length at a disadvantage.
Both teams are over the limit in fouls. Barry gets through as he swings it in the pass from Ginobili. 19 for Barry off of the bench. And it's tied again at 101 apiece. And there's a lot of points given up by the Spurs, who came into the game second in the NBA in defensive scoring.
Not only that, it's so many layups in a playoff basketball. You never see a lot of layups in playoff basketball.
Bonzi Wells tried one there and is fouled.
Like, you see the cutting and the execution. Nice little hot cut right there by Brent Barry. You know, when he comes off the hop, you've got to show. The big man has to show or bump Brent. If you don't bump or bump him or put a tag on him, he gets a wide open layup. That's why when we talk about San Antonio being able to adjust on the fly, Sacramento hasn't adjusted at all on the defensive end.
Foul was on Michael Finley. Wells now 2 for 5 from the line, and looking to give the Kings a 1-point lead. Each team has a 20-second timeout remaining. Spurs have 2 full timeouts. The Kings only 1 full. 1 out of 2 for Bonzi Wells, and the Kings up 102-101. 3 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter.
Well, they're going to go back to that same play with Brent Barry. A hot cut with a pick and roll from Tim Duncan.
Not there, and so Ginobili using a screen from Duncan with plenty of time on the shot clock. Gets the ball back, firing the 3, and the rebound by Abdur-Rahim as he boxed out Tim Duncan effectively. So the Kings with the ball and the 1-point lead.
You couldn't ask for a better shot. Second best player, wide open corner 3.
Here's Abdur-Rahim. Parker ready to double if necessary, and goes out to Bibby. Bibby firing the 3. Long rebound, and Parker has it.
I'll tell you what, he is due. He hadn't had a great game, Mike Bibby, but we all know he's known for big shots.
And a runner by Parker, giving the Spurs the lead 103-102 with 2:10 remaining.
And that's too easy. He just dribbled down, not even at full strength, Dick. and shot a teardrop from the free throw line.
And a double-double in points and assists for Tony Parker. And under 2 minutes remaining. And there it's coming from behind. Manu Ginobili with a block and a foul called against maybe Abdur-Rahim. Let's see who they call it on. And no, it'll be against the Spurs. It'll be against Ginobili, who seemed to get a good part of the ball from behind. But then we'll see whether the body got involved.
Well, that's what they always call down low, is the body. Good spin move here by Sharif. And he got him on the head. Manu got him on the head right there. That's a good call. He puts his body right into the chest of Tim Duncan. And Manu comes over. He had ball, but he hit a little bit of his head as well.
Abdur-Rahim has hit the 1 free throw he's attempted tonight.
And a very good free throw shooter for his size.
20 points tonight for Sharif Abdur-Rahim.
20 points off the bench. Big plus for Coach Adelman.
And 9 in the 4th quarter. That's the bigger story. Now 10 in the 4th. And the Kings are up 104-103.
Are you sure this is his second playoff game?
I think so.
Wow.
743.
He's not playing like it.
No. He's been waiting, though, for this chance. Okay, here's a pass into Duncan, guarded by Abdur-Rahim. Now Bibby wondering whether he should double, and missing the shot inside, going baseline was Duncan. And here come the Kings, up by 1.
If it's not there, pull it out, Mike Bibby.
Minute and a half remaining. Here's Wells isolated against Barry. Clear out. Bonzi Wells, offensive foul, charge into Barry, who took the charge and took it in the face.
And that is a good call and a good play by Brent Barry, because Bonzi Wells had him beat middle. He needed to continue to go middle, but he tries to cross him over and go baseline, and Brent read it all the way to Corliss Williamson's dismay.
And that is the 5th foul on Bonzi Wells. So Wells is on the court with 5, and he has been the leading scorer with 26 for the Kings. Tim Duncan also on the floor with 5 fouls. Kings by 1. Spurs looking to regain the lead. 1:15 to go. And here is Duncan. Parker still has it. Parker from the baseline. And now the Kings have it. Ginobili trying to knock the ball away.
Well, you gotta be careful. He's gonna end up like Ron Artest. He keeps reaching in there like that.
1 minute remaining. And 14 on the shot clock here in the 4th quarter. The Kings are up 104-103, doing it without Ron Artest. Abdur-Rahim gets the basket. He has been the hero of this 4th quarter for the Sacramento Kings, and a timeout called by the Spurs. Sharif Abdur-Rahim, 12 of his 23 here in the 4th quarter.
And he's been doing it by using his size and his strength against one of the premier big men in the game, in Tim Duncan.
They're up by 3.
Try to get into the lane and create that teardrop shot for himself or Tim Duncan.
And the Spurs have been in this situation so many times before in huge games in playoffs and in finals. Down by this many, maybe even more with this much time remaining. Here is Finley. Finley hitting the big basket. 2-pointer, 106-105.
And that only took 2 seconds off the clock, Dick, so plenty of time. You establish your defense now. Been great all year.
Big possession for the Kings. And the Spurs live by their defense. Here's Abdur-Rahim. Ginobili over to help out. Bibby, 6 on the shot clock. Parker all over him. Tight defense. Bibby missing the shot, and Martin keeps it alive. And Bonzi Wells is fouled by Parker. Bonzi Wells. And the Kings leading by 1. Nazr Muhammad at the scorer's table. And Wells, 3 for 7 now. So the Kings, one of the better free throw shooting teams in the league, 5th, and doing well tonight, but not Wells, as Nazr Muhammad replaces Michael Finley.
Well, now you really need this one, because if you don't get this one, you're on the verge of losing this ball game.
And guess what? Robert Horry, who can lose it for you,
big shot,
as
Rob,
we've seen in the past, will come in for Brent Barry. Barry goes out, having scored 19.
Well, it's interesting. Will Popovich call a timeout to set up his last play, or will he trust in Tony Parker to go with it?
So 1 out of 2 for Bonzi Wells, and the Spurs will call a timeout. The Kings are up 107-105.
Not east to west.
And you also have to watch out for the offensive rebound for the miss and the putback, and the Spurs are very alert with that. So let's set it up for you. Finley will inbound. He's got Barry, Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan. So Ori went out of the game, and defending will be Thomas, Bibby, Martin, Abdur-Rahim, and Bonzi Wells. Wells with 5 fouls. Here's Ginobili setting the high pick and roll, and the foul is on Wells, and Manu Ginobili will go to the line. Wells is fouled out of the game. That is his 6th foul. So Bonzi Wells, who has really handled the big scoring and physical play tonight, leads the game, having scored 28 points and connected 12 rebounds.
Well, that's a smart play by Popovich right there. Knowing that Bonzi Wells was going to be guarding Manu Ginobili, having 5 fouls, any type of contact, especially at home, was going to be called right there. Very much the same way Sharif is trying to pick up Tim Duncan's 6th foul.
And Brad Miller will replace Bonzi Wells, who fouls out, and that's going to be a problem for Sacramento if this game does go into overtime, not having Bonzi's services.
Well, you can't rely on second-year player Kevin Martin, especially if this game goes to overtime, offensively to carry you. Mike Bibby is going to have to come through. They can continue to go to Sharif Abdur-Rahim, but big pressure free throws. And like we said, 29th this year in the league, San Antonio was from the strike. Could be their Achilles heel.
Manu Ginobili now 4 for 7 from the line. So no chance to tie it up on this free throw possession. Bruce Bowen coming in for defensive purposes, replacing Michael Finley.
And it's funny because everyone says, should he miss it and then try to go for the rebound? No, you make it and you foul quickly and you make it a free throw game.
1 out of 2, 107-106. And now timeout called by Rick Adelman and the Kings.
You can use the backcourt here too.
Ginobili fouls Martin. So Martin will go to the line. And tonight, Martin has been perfect. He has 8 for 8 from the free throw line is Kevin Martin. But the pressure now, a lot different than it was earlier in the game.
Very true, but why not? It's been his game all night, so.
And that gives the Kings a 2-point lead. Robert Ori, the 3-point genius, replaces Bruce Bowen. And now a big free throw for Martin, trying to give the Kings a 3-point lead. We're down to 14.6. Garcia comes into the game, Francisco Garcia, for rebounding purposes. And remember, the Spurs just have a 20-second timeout left. Martin makes them both, and it's 109-106. And the Spurs call their last timeout back in 1. This year they won.
Well, one thing I don't like having Francisco Rodriguez on Robert Ori.
All right, well, that's who's on him right now. And Manu Ginobili in 3-point territory, driving against Hart, and open is Barry. Gets the 3. Barry with a 3-point basket that popped up from the rim with 4 seconds to go. And the Kings call a timeout. Brent Barry, what a game. 22 points for Brent Barry. 4 threes coming off that very deep bench, ties the score. And now the Kings have used their last timeout, a 20.
And Dick, that was a misdirection play right there, because right there, Tim Duncan did a good job. Mike Bibby had his head turned, and all Brent had to do was think like he was going in and go to the short corner for a 3. A misdirection play. You draw the defense in, you set a screen, and a wide open 3.
All right, Kings ball, 4 seconds to go.
Plenty of time. You got Mike Bibby, who's a great finisher. He can create his own shot, look for the ball to be in his hands, and for him to get the last shot.
What about this man?
It'd be nice, but you don't want to give it to a low post player because it takes too much time. Guards have to finish plays like this.
Bibby, by the way, has hit only 1 of 13, so you can say, well, he's not on tonight, or maybe he's due.
He is due.
Inbounding will be Jason Hart. 4 seconds remaining against a great defensive team in the San Antonio Spurs. And the Kings need a foul situation, free throw, or a basket. Otherwise, we go to overtime. Nowhere to go. Here's Abdur-Rahim. Fires it up. And we go going to overtime. Abdur-Rahim had an open shot, a good look, and we go to overtime with the score tied at 109. And just keep in mind, in the back of your mind, that Bonzi Wells is fouled out of the game, but the Kings really extending the Spurs tonight.
And you really got to give credit to Bonzi Wells for taking away Mike Bibby. A great look by Shareef Abdur-Rahim right there. That's all you want.
Will jump center against Abdur-Rahim. And the tip controlled by the Spurs.
And look at the lineups here, Dick. San Antonio being really small.
Yes, Ginobili, Parker, Barry, Finley, and Duncan, the only big man. Duncan fouled. So Tim Duncan will go to the free throw line. Remember, he's playing.
You know, San Antonio, you gave the 8th seed a shot. It's still a game. But now this is when your superstars, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, take over. Now, how is Sacramento going to respond? Shareef has 5 fouls. Mike Bibby has to find a way to get going. You cannot rely on a second-year player, even though he's playing great, and Kevin Martin. Now you need experience.
1 out of 2 for Duncan. 1-point lead for the Spurs. Each team gets 3 timeouts in overtime. Bibby. And Bibby with only his 2nd basket of the game. 2 for 14. But a timely one, giving the Kings the lead by 1.
Right now, I'd keep the ball in Bibby's hands, as well as Tim Duncan.
And Jason Hart playing big-time pressure minutes. Well-traveled player, and the ball knocked away by Thomas out of bounds, and the Spurs have it with 9 on the shot clock. So Jason Hart, who has been with the Spurs, now with his 5th team in the NBA, played his college ball at Syracuse. Small team out there. Here's Ginobili, sneaks in. Made a fake, snuck in.
And if you're going to switch, Kevin Martin, you got to switch on the inside. You can't stay on the outside and switch.
26 points for the scoring leader for the Spurs. Manu Ginobili. San Antonio up by 1. Bibby again. Hits again. So Bibby has more baskets in overtime than he did in the first 48 minutes. And Sacramento in a seesaw overtime deal leads by 1.
Superstars take over in overtime. Manu, Tim Duncan, Mike Bibby. They should get all the shots here.
Reggie Miller. Here's Duncan working his way in against Thomas. Tipped by Ginobili into the hands of Abdur-Rahim. Crowd wanted a foul. It would have been number 6 against Shareef, but no foul. Martin better not get too fancy with the back pass. Under 3.5 to go in the first overtime session, and Bibby threw it away right into the hands of Ginobili. 2-on-1 break. Parker converts. Spurs by 1.
Bibby, you made the last 2 shots for your team. You do not need to look to pass. Pick and roll to death. Come off screens, because you've got to take the looks at the basket.
And Abdur-Rahim working against Duncan, going baseline inside. Double team coming over is Barry to try to knock it away. Bibby open. Not this time. And Duncan getting the rebound. Spurs have the ball and a 1-point lead with under 3 minutes to go in the first overtime.
He's going to be penetrating. You got to stop ball.
And they did. Duncan setting the high pick for Ginobili, who gets clobbered. Ginobili gets clobbered by Bibby. And it's going to be, let's see, three shots.
Never want to foul a jump shooter. They teach you that growing up. And AAU, high school, college especially, never want to foul jump shooters, especially behind the arc.
Ginobili 7 of 10 with 1 more coming. Spurs up by 3 now, 116 to 113.
No time to panic. There's no time to panic for Sacramento. Plenty of time left.
Bruce Bowen. Defensive substitution with Barry going to the sidelines. It was Barry, by the way, who hit that big 3 that popped up and went through with 4 seconds left to tie the game. Manu Ginobili makes all 3 free throws. 4-point lead and a timeout called by Rick Adelman. 10:30 also on TNT. Barry coming in for Bowen in the defense or offense-defense substitution deal. As we get close to 2 minutes remaining in the overtime, here's Tony Parker with the floater, short, and the rebound by Abdur-Rahim.
Tony Parker's just off tonight. He's gotten to the rim, and his teardrop just isn't falling. But I'm telling you, Element, when they look at this tape, are going to have to do something to solve him coming off pick and roll.
Mimi Abdur-Rahim fake shooting in and out, and Barry gets the rebound. Under 2 minutes to go, so the Kings have missed a couple of chances here, and the Spurs up by 4 with the ball. Duncan setting the screen for Ginobili, who goes in, gets the basket and the foul. How many millions of times have they worked that play?
But not only that, that's the inability to change on the fly for Sacramento. What are you going to do on pick and rolls? Are you going to show hard? Are you going to make them go north to south? Are you just going to hard head? But Sacramento has not found a way to solve anyone in the pick and roll. There ain't even no one near him when he comes off the pick and roll.
You know what? We've used the term knifes his way in. I think he's reinventing that term, Manu Ginobili.
And you're letting him go to his strong hand as well. If he gets a full head of steam to his left, no one's going to stop him.
32 points, 8 in overtime for Manu Ginobili.
And the bench being so depleted and non-used pretty much the whole year, you know, it all falls on the shoulders of number 10, Mike Bibby.
And Parker is defending him. Here is Abdur-Rahim going in against Duncan and scores. Duncan, by the way, playing good deal of this.
Yes.
And over the line.
Violation.
So Parker stepped over the line with the ball. A careless turnover.
Yes.
And the Kings get the ball back. Still down by 5, 120 to 115.
And that's grade school violation right there. Tim Duncan walked in with the basketball and threw it back or handed it off to Tony Parker, and that's a violation. That's over and back.
And now Bruce Bowen's going to come into the game.
Here it is. Tim Duncan was like he was going to take it out, and Parker's like, no, that's my job. Well, here you go. Let me hand it off. You take it out, and that's a violation. It's over. You cannot do that.
So Jason Hart will inbound now, and Bowen is in the game, and he's guarding Mike Bibby. Every possession critical now. And here is Thomas guarded by Finley. They go out to Abdur-Rahim. Abdur-Rahim with a loft shot over to Starovich. So, well, who do they have besides Bibby? Obviously Abdur-Rahim, who has 27. So now they've cut the lead. 122 to 117. 120 to 117. 3-point game.
And there you go. Show hard.
Rasho to Starovich, spinning his way to a big basket. 1:15 to go, and now it is a 5-point lead for the Spurs. Manu Ginobili getting the assist. Losing it is Bibby out of bounds. And the Spurs will get the ball back. And the timeout call. Huge turnover here.
And Mike Bibby just right here trying to do a little bit too much. A little bit of moisture on his hands, sweat. Trying to pull the ball up, slips out of his hands for the turnover.
So a 5-point
world champions, and they've got all the experience.
Parker guarded by Martin. No hurry are the Spurs. And a what is stop situation.
What is Kenny Thomas going to do on the pick and roll here? Is he going to hard hedge? Is he going to show? Is he going to let him get in?
Here is Ginobili. Ginobili forces a shot off the front rim. Duncan getting the rebound. Big rebound for Tim Duncan. They handled it well. Spurs had an off-balance shot, but they get another possession. And now the foul is called with just under 40 seconds remaining. And the foul is on Martin, his fourth.
Well, fourth shot here by Manu Ginobili, but Tim Duncan doing a good job of establishing position. It took somewhat of an awkward bounce off the rim, and he read it well, and he bounced